Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. As the return to school rush begins, there are fears many Tasmanian families will be left behind, unable to keep up with rising school costs. Demand for emergency relief is set to peak as thousands turn to support services for help.
It's the perfect recipe, leaving thousands without their basic needs met.
Skyrocketing rents, food, healthcare. It really means that many families are struggling just with day-to-day expenses and just to make ends meet.
The upcoming return to school, the latest factor pushing struggling Tasmanian families to the brink. It sparked more calls to charities for emergency relief, with Vinnie's already bracing for a surge in demand.
We're talking about costs of up around $2,500 for primary school children and over $4,000 for high school children. Something's got to give.
Hundreds are expected to visit their Argyle Street site for school essentials in coming months, many of those for the first time.
Books, uniforms, back to school items such as lunchboxes, bottles, whatever.
Terry, one of many emergency relief volunteers, says demand is the highest he's seen in his 20 years. His school support scheme has had to ramp up its response.
People who are battling to pay school fees for a starter, so that they're quickly identified, and from there we've supported the books, uniforms and other needs they might have.
Vinnie's continues to plead with the community to continue donating over the summer period, saying 84,000 Tasmanians continue to suffer from food insecurity. The spike doubling is a chance to ensure support services can still meet community needs.
We really need to ensure that our non-government organisations, our community sector, is well funded and resourced and able to provide the support Tasmanians need.
Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmanian News.
There are new calls for Tasmanians to join the tourism and hospitality industry, with the sector and state government joining forces to build the workforce. The Liberals are still dogged by old issues though, with concerns raised today about housing and the Mac Point Stadium approval process.
If you're looking for a job, Tassie Tourism and Hospitality wants you.
There's a breadth of careers, and I think that many Tasmanians and many young people don't actually understand or know that.
One of the things we're working on the government is to make sure that those people are skilled up enough to make sure that they can carry out the requirements of the industry and the business.
Both bodies signing on to a new partnership today with the state government.
We're looking to develop better pathways from industry into becoming a teacher and a trainer.
Housing, however, remains in the spotlight. Labor's lamenting a long turnaround time for new units.
When there is new social housing available, it sits there for weeks and months empty while there are people who could be moving in.
So our plan is to deliver 10,000 social and affordable homes over the next decade, and this clearly shows that we're getting on with the job.
Also accusing the government of a lack of compassion for suggesting not everybody on the social housing waitlist needs a home right now.
They might be paying exorbitant private rents that they can't afford to pay and are making horrible decisions around whether or not they can afford to pay their rent or whether they can afford to feed their families that week or that month.
The battle's not over for Hobart's proposed waterfront stadium. The Greens are now concerned it's a conflict of interest for the Macquarie Point Development Corporation to be both the proponent and the author of the precinct plan that's going to be assessed against.
This is a perversity of proper process. This is akin to a builder of a house telling the council the rules against which it should be assessed.
Greens don't support the stadium. Shock horror. Everyone knows that.
A government spokesperson says the Sullivan's Cove planning scheme will also be assessed, with further guidelines being developed. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
The state government has had a change of heart on a controversial new bill after concerns from victim survivors, advocates and MPs. Legislation to create a sex offender disclosure register had drawn criticism in recent days. A section outlawing actions intended to create animosity, labelled ambiguous. Felix Ellis announced the change this afternoon, saying he welcomes the feedback. The government has defended its investment in ambulance services following concerns about coverage in the south of the state. The Paramedics Union says amid understaffing, 9 ambulances were ramped at the Royal Hobart Hospital yesterday, leaving only 3 crews to cover the region.
We're taking action to address that at a hospital level, but we're also significantly investing in our ambulance service right around Tasmania.
A Department of Health spokesperson says there's currently an increase in demand for injuries and illnesses, and escalation processes are in place. Hobart's rental market appears to be cooling, according to PropTrack's latest Market Insight report. While the medium advertised price rose to $500 a week in the December quarter, it's down by nearly 5% compared to the same time in 2022. PropTrack says Hobart was the only market in the country to record a drop over the past 12 months.
But it is coming off pretty strong demand for property and fast growth in rents and prices throughout the pandemic and the years before. So in part, what we've seen in 2023 was a little bit of a correction.
Rental prices in regional Tasmania remained flat during the same period. The Circular Head Coastal Awareness Network is appealing the decision to approve the controversial Robbins Island wind farm, lodging a claim in the Supreme Court. They say the project would be on an environmentally important part of Tasmania, potentially impacting native species. The network says it was disappointed with TasCat's decision to remove a condition that would have seen the farm shut down for 5 months during the orange-bellied parrot migration period. The group also calling on the state government to balance renewable energy projects with protecting bird habitats. And environmental activists with the Bob Brown Foundation has taken to new heights in the hope of saving the endangered swift parrot. The group aiming to stop Forestry Tasmania's logging operations at coops in the state's southwest. They say the forest provides a critical habitat for many threatened species, including the grey goshawk, the spotted-tailed quoll and the wedge-tailed eagle. It's one of many recent protests, including a similar tree climb near Geeveston. The group is expected to be back in court later this month, looking for an injunction that will halt native forest logging across Tasmania. Hobart International players have enjoyed some sweet treats, sampling one of Tasmania's best-known food. Australia's Kimberly Birrell and Taiwan's Wu Fangxiang taking the chance to visit the famous Coal River Farm this afternoon. The pair enjoying some chocolate and cheese. Fresh off a win in the doubles last night, Birrell says the Hobart experience is a unique one for players.
From week to week to different tournaments in different countries, and often we just see the tennis courts and then we see the hotel room. So yeah, it's really awesome to get out and about.
She'll be back in action with partner Olive Gadecki later this week. And Tasmania's best bowlers have continued rolling on at the State Championships in Hobart. Day 4 of the tournament, a vital one for players, having one last chance to secure a spot in tomorrow's knockout stage.
Another big day on the lawns of Beltana, competitors continuing to roll on at the Bowls Tasmania State Championships.
The State Championships, which started on Saturday with our open mixed pairs, so we had almost 60 pairs from around Tasmania, our best bowlers in the state competing.
With grand final fever on the horizon, it's the young guns who are proving hard to beat.
Two of our younger players in the state, both members of the Bowls Australian Pathways team, managed to win the championship, so it was a great effort from them.
The rise of youth, a growing trend. Far from a sport for seniors, Bowls Tasmania says more young players are trying their hand and getting involved. Lockie Thurley, who's played in the state triples and open mixed pairs in the last few days, hopes this year's state championships will help him move through the ranks and land a spot on the big stage.
We're hoping to make it past our section and just see how it goes. If we make the semi-finals, we're pretty happy.
Tomorrow is set to be a testing day. The quarterfinals, semi-finals and the grand final will all be played tomorrow. With tight contests expected, bowlers know they have just one shot at glory.
It's a top field. It's difficult to predict who will be in the finals.
The stakes even higher for those who claim a state title. Winners also score a ticket to this year's national championships. The 5-day event officially comes to a head tomorrow. Another sunny and warm day is expected as some of Tassie's best bowlers hit the greens. Rebecca Gaidaneris, 7 Tasmania News.
Some of the state's top drops are being poured with this year's Tasmanian Wine Show underway in Launceston. More than 370 entries from 65 producers will go under the watchful eyes and taste of a panel of expert judges over the next 3 days.
freshness, brightness of flavour, density, and then balance. So, you know, that acidity and flavour together working well. So it is a complete package that we're after, and those wines will be rewarded.
The carefully curated winners' wine list will be revealed later this week. Residents in the Devonport area can now have their cat desexed and microchipped for free. The local council is joining forces with the National Desexing Network and the Northwest Veterinary Centre in a bid to prevent unwanted kittens. Those with a valid pension, on low income or taking on an unowned cat are among those eligible for the subsidised program.
In a major upset at the Hobart International, former US Open champion Sloane Stephens has been knocked out by a relative newcomer, battling Yuan Ye for almost 3 hours in a centre court blockbuster. An up-and-comer with a Grand Slam winner against the ropes.
Applying the pressure, Sloane Stephens stunned in the very first game.
China's Yuan Ye making a name for herself with a surprise onslaught against Sloane Stephens.
The attacking approach from Yuan Ye is reaping dividends.
Battling a blister and a crowd there to see her opponent, Ye would inevitably cede ground to the American.
What a way to break. A bit of emotion shown as well from Sloane Stephens. That meant a lot to her.
Stephens' experience shining through in every game, but it would be 25-year-old Ye winning the tiebreak.
She has done it.
Sealing a big win in what may be a childhood dream come true.
Many years ago, and I stay at my home and watch her on TV, so I'm very happy can be here.
For Stephens, it's her second first-round exit at Hobart in as many years. Last night, Aussie wildcard entry Daria Saville was also on fire.
That was fantastic, wasn't it? Hit with the continental grip. That squash-looking shot.
Getting the home crowd on their feet as she beat Russian Anna Blinkova 3-6, 6-4, 6-4 on a blustery Hobart evening. Even crediting a few young fans for a confidence boost when things weren't going her way.
When I got broken at 5-4, they're like, that's fine. While I was, sipping on my drinks and having my bananas, they're like, it's fine. So they basically coached me to win. So thank you.
She'll face 2020 Australian Open winner Sophia Kenin next. The American beating Belgian Griet Mennen in straight sets this morning, feeling right at home at the Domain.
First match is always the toughest, so you just got to find a way to get through it, feel your game, feel the court a bit. Even though I'm very used to this court, so I feel like me and the court have a special connection.
He's helped rocket the Tigers to Shield victory quite a few times this season, and tonight Tassie heavy hitter Brad Hope has a chance to play in purple for the first time. The all-rounder called up into the Hurricanes' 15-man travelling squad alongside Sam Haslett in place of Matt Wade. Fresh firepower may be just what the Canes need after a disappointing show from their openers against the undefeated Heat, the first 5 batsmen managing a combined total of just 22 runs. The Hurricanes need a win in Adelaide tonight to keep their finals hopes alive, and coverage of that game is live and free on 7 Tasmania straight after Home and Away. There might be just 8 games left in the NBL regular season, but the Jack Jumpers' newest recruit is ready to give his all. Tom Vodanovic and the rest of the Jackie squad flying to Brisbane ahead of tomorrow's crunch clash against the Bullets. With the game expected to be a physical contest, the coaching staff are hoping their new big man will come in handy as they look to keep the foul count low.
We want to be as physical as we can while keeping teams to under that 20 free throw marks. To have an extra big and somebody who's physical like Tommy is going to be a massive asset.
Ready to help however I can. It's a quick 8-game left of the season, so yeah, we're just ready to jump at whatever I get.
A win for the Jackies would see them jump back into second place on the league table. And Launceston cyclist Hamish McKenzie will join the World Tour peloton next year with Jayco Alula after signing a 2-year deal. The 19-year-old rising star will race for the Axion Jayco team this year, catching attention in 2023 with a bronze at the World Championships time trial in Glasgow.
Good evening. Hobart, Devonport and Burnie all recorded 21 degrees today. Launceston warmed up to 26 as above average temperatures were right across the state. Bushy Park recorded 25, Grove 24 and Strawn 23, Friendly Beaches, Low Head and the Islands 22 and Lyowini 21 degrees. Sunny skies over Tasmania apart from a few small patches of low cloud over the west and northeast, but they moved off. Bands of cloud are east and west of the state. Thunderstorms are over many parts of Queensland and eastern New South Wales. Most of of the rest of the country is cloud-free. Tomorrow, a large area of low pressure sits over the west and far north of the country. A cold front starts to move our way and ranges to our west coast. West to northwest winds as strong as 20 to 30 knots, swells building to 3 metres in the afternoon. There is a strong wind warning for waters between Stanley and Wineglass Bay and then from Tasman Island around to Low Rocky Point. Hobart tomorrow partly cloudy, 25 degrees, 25 also for Geeston, maybe a late shower, mostly sunny for Bothwell though, and 25 the top as well. Launceston partly cloudy and 26. Devonport Cup Day, absolutely perfect. Bit of cloud about 24 degrees, maybe a light breeze, and good luck to Adam Trinder with Miss Charlie Brown. Cressy becoming windy and partly cloudy, 27 degrees. Burnie partly cloudy and 23. 21 the top for Strawn and Curry, maybe a shower over the west. St Helens sunny as well, 26 the top, 27 for Swansea, and Orford up to 28 degrees. To Thursday, fine apart from a possible light shower over the west. Plenty of sunshine over the east on Friday with fine partly cloudy weather for the rest of the state. And on Saturday a few showers moving over Tasmania, mainly over the west, far south and northeast. A sunny 33 degrees in Perth tomorrow, fine and sunny in Adelaide and Melbourne, warm and partly cloudy in Canberra and Sydney, 31 the top in Brisbane but with a shower or two. Sunny and 19 in Hobart. It's 23 right now in Launceston and 24 in Devonport. Cup Day there tomorrow. Kim, of course, Miss Charlie Brown trained on the track, like also Swoop Dog and Alpine Wolf in that race. But of course, if you're in the fashions on the field, you'd be the hot favourite.
Of course I would. Thank you, Murph. And that does wrap up tonight's local news. We'll have news, sport and weather updates later. Thanks for joining us. Good night.